Hello everyone, Molton here. Welcome back to another game in our rapid speedrun series. We have the white side again against the French defense this time. Let's go for the move pawn to d4 and let's play knight c3. We've played the Milner-Barry gambit a few times already. See if I can introduce you guys to some more interesting variations here after move pawn to e5. Now, here in this position, a lot of people play the move pawn to f4, which is fine, but especially in rapid and blitz time controls, you want to have a repertoire which includes a lot of systems which your opponent isn't really familiar with. This goes for classical as well. Sometimes it's good to know the main lines, but it's good to have some extra sidelines. And one good sideline here, which I like to play, is the move queen g4. In fact, this was the move a very talented young girl won a brilliant game not too long ago with the white side. I think it continued pawn to c5, and the idea is to play the move knight to b5 and follow through with this check on d6, and then there's some queen takes g7 in between move. I think this is the main idea of this line. But in general, I like a lot of the positions for white in not just the French, but other openings as well when the queen goes to g4, because it puts a lot of pressure on black. Especially in faster time control games, as I said. It works really, really well. So g6, so forcing g6 must be useful. Yeah, I mean, this must be good to force g6, but we just have to see how we continue from here. Now, I suppose the most natural move is just to play knight to f3. Don't see anything wrong with that. We need to be prepared to maybe play the knight into the d6 square at some point. So I will start with the move knight to f3. Okay, knight to c6. We need to watch out for the move knight to b4 here. We do have the move bishop to g5 as well in this position. We also have queen f4. I wonder if we can play queen f4 and threaten some knight g5 type of move. Going to try it. Also, the queen on f4 is quite useful because if I play knight d6 check, bishop takes, I take back, then the queen is actually defending the pawn at the same time. So it's very useful. Now, if the move pawn to a6, I will probably play knight to g5. Instead, it goes pawn to c4. Can I still play knight to g5? So if knight to g5 now, what does he do? Queen check, I have bishop to d2. Queen takes knight, I have check, and then mate on e6. If he pushes any of these pawns, I have knight takes e6. I don't see what he's doing. So knight to g5. Bishop check, I have pawn to c3. Yeah, queen a5 also doesn't work. I think c4 takes away all the pressure from the center, and yeah, and then now white is just winning. I mean, I can go knight d6 check. I can also go knight c7 check as well, which is winning. Let's go knight d6 check. Just pick up the rook. So that was a full rook as well, because our knight is not getting trapped anytime soon. You can always come straight back to that square. That's also a free queen, so we'll take the queen as well. Knight e8 check. And so it's definitely useful having these type of variations, especially in blitz and rapid time controls. If that's the main time controls you're looking to improve in, then this is good. I mean, the main line is pawn to f4. You can also deviate in the main lines as well, look for some variations there which your opponent might not be aware of. But playing these type of openings is really good, because even though objectively speaking, as you can see, the computer doesn't like it, because black does have, I think, some ways to equalize. If your opponent doesn't play it perfectly, then most of the time he can get a lot worse. And most of the time, even if he does play it perfectly, you shouldn't be in any huge danger of losing, as long as you know your line relatively well. So the idea is knight to b5 here, and in this position I think most people play the move knight to c6, and I think the main idea is to go knight check, bishop takes, and then throw in this in between queen takes g7. So instead of taking the bishop, we take here, attacking the rook. Now for example, there's no bishop takes e5, so if the rook moves, we take here, knight takes d4, and I believe there was a game in this position where white played the move knight to f3 and allowed knight takes c2, king d1, knight takes rook, and then I think the game continued bishop to b5, and then white won a brilliant game in this position, continuing on with rook to e1, bishop h6, bishop g5 type of ideas. Yeah, there's just a lot of attacking ideas here for white. So not easy at all to defend these positions. Knight to b5, g6, knight to f3 here, queen to f4. So it's actually the top move, or one of the top moves. So I thought that black has to put some pressure on our center here by capturing this pawn. But now it's even suggesting just playing h4, h5 whenever black puts the pawns in this configuration of squares, then h4, h5 becomes always a really good idea. So h4, yeah, game becomes very double-edged, but we do have to keep an eye out on our e5 pawn in this variation. But what happened in the game was after c4, now that's a huge blunder, because there's no more pressure on the center, and we just play the move knight to g5, and there's just no defense here for black. For example, if queen a5 check, we can play the move bishop to d2, and the problem is if queen takes knight, then we have queen takes f7, king d8, knight takes e6 is made. And if any other move, then there's no other good move here in this position. So he would have had to deviate back here, maybe bishop check, but then we have the move pawn to c3. He can castle and give up the bishop, but he's just a piece down there, and most likely it wouldn't even take the bishop, just play queen h4, and then maybe go for either g4 bishop e2, sacrifice on h5 and go for mate. On h7, so queen e7, but then yeah, knight check and we pick up the rook. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this quick game against the French defense. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all on the next game in our series. Take care.